So let me show you something a little bit about record play. So let me just take a recording here, and all I need to do is to click the little red button for record. And I know there are a lot of people who have seen this kind of thing around, and so let me just choose something here that's a little bit weird. I want to make sure I go past in my recording, I want to go past the Google Ajax autocomplete function. I don't want to get that. I don't want to get too complicated first. So I'm going to go ahead and make that recording, and then just to prove that I did get there, let me say, let's validate this phrase, will not compile. And let's just take that thing, and I'm going to record, validate, selected text, and you see eValid drops the recording command right into the script file. So here's the recording that I did. I'll just maximize that for a second. And as you can see, the commands in eValid are very straightforward. Go someplace, delete cookies, wait, element blur, down selected text, and so forth. When you play this back, and I'll play this back now, eValid, there's a wait here. I waited 20 seconds because I was talking, but eValid has a ceiling on the wait time, and so I put the ceiling in at 3 seconds so I wouldn't spend the rest of the afternoon having you watch. And so sure enough, and I want to show the validation of that particular piece of text. So here is where the phrase will not compile showed up in the search results, and the command completed successfully. The fact that this is a yellow screen is the result of the fact that somewhere along the line, and I'll show you, the adaptive playback feature came into play because, and Google is typical, the indexes, the DOM indexes, change around in Google, and so you get a warning, but that's not a negative. A warning is a good number. Let me show you now what happens with adaptive playback. I'm going to go and just make a simple text change to this script, and I'm going to say, let's pretend that the text I'm trying to validate will surely not compile. Let's just see if that will work. And now I've edited the script, and I'll play this back. And we anticipate that this will give you a red screen because that phrase will not be found on the page at all. So we go and look for it, can't find it, and we get a red screen. And if you look at the error message that eValid gave you, it said cannot find the phrase will not compile if that it finds something else. And so you've got a very simple validation mode here. So I've illustrated easy script editing and validation modes with Google. We think that eValid is as simple a functional testing engine as you can make, and the reason it achieves its simplicity is that it's implemented in a browser. So all of these details that we show here in this script, for example, where things are and the window number and frame paths and all of those things that are on the script, all of that information is derived from information inside the browser. So inside the browser is key, as we'll see later on. So let me go on now to client server. When it's an Ajax application, there is, of course, asynchronous operation. And this is one that uses the WooTools autocomplete example from a website called Ajax Daddy. And if you notice, you're watching the log file being generated as eValid runs this test. Now we wait the 9 seconds, and then we wait and type in these things. We're looking in USA for a string called puppy, and we get a green screen because that worked successfully. Normal page synchronization, if I go back here to this page here, if I go to the event log, all of that material right here from that init link down to this point where it says command completed, that's the normal built-in synchronization. Now this particular test, if I run this test, and I'm just going to document, just make a simple change here, if I change this wait right there, if I just comment that out, I'll pound that out and save that. If I run that, now I'm not using a wait time to synchronize, and what will happen is that the playback will get ahead. The playback will get ahead of the page, and you'll get a red screen because this thing will type data into the wrong place, and it sure enough, it didn't type the right things. You see, it didn't go to the right locations. I've got a new version of that script called moo2. Let me open him up. And moo2 does the following. We replace the weight, and I'm going to go ahead and change the weight to 0 here just so you see what's going on. Pound that out. So in this case now the synchronization is based on waiting, having eValid wait until a particular text phrase shows up. And the text phrase we're choosing is this one right here. You can see it highlighted. So eValid is going to wait in playback mode until that text shows up on the screen. So let's just confirm that that works. And there's no wait time involved, so we're not relying on wait time synchronizations, which I think everyone will understand are, with an AJAX application, are going to not work. They're not reliable. There'll always be a response time that's longer than whatever wait time you put in. And so, bingo. Using the second sync on text command, I get a nice green screen. And if we go back and look at the way that synchronization worked right in here, synchronized, we text string not found. You see this phrase where it says text string not found, and it's still downloading. Text string not found. Aha. Text string was found after 2.8 seconds. By the way, just in terms of detail here, everything in eValid's timing is resolved to 1 millisecond, and so you see response times that are very, very good. We had to use the page map to find out what to synchronize on, and so we've made another. Let me show you the page map here very quickly for this particular page. I open up the page map, and if I right-click on this page, the page map will navigate to the location on the page. All right, let me just. So if you look at this particular display, any element in the page is available to be identified with its DOM details. So what we've done is we can go into the page, and using the page map right here, I can figure out anything that's going on the page. And this is a bidirectional display, by the way. If I go and click in the page map, the actual page map elements show up on the screen. So if I click on this, you'll see the screen. Well, I guess I'm not clicking on something that's visible. But in any case, it's a bidirectional display. So what we did with this example is we used a technique which is called, and now I want to go to this particular picture. There's a little diagram here that I'll show you. We went to the trouble of looking into the page to figure out where is an index that has a particular property, and then we can manipulate that index. It's called the source index, and there's also an element value, and we can manipulate those two abstract values. And I came up here with this example script called moo3, and we bring him up. And in moo3, what we did was we actually, I'll bring that this large, we actually converted the input value command, which is what was recorded from life, into this set of 3 commands. I can get them to highlight. That set of 4 commands, pardon me, where we set the index to 0. That says, okay, eValid, start at the top of the page and go find the phrase local, enter a country name. Then next find the tag which says input, and then drop a particular text USA into that input. So let me illustrate how that works by simply running the play here. If I do this right, that'll be the play. And you'll see that eValid is now looking into the DOM to figure out where to drop that piece of information in. And you get the same effect, but this particular script now runs very quickly. I don't think you'll ever see that run so quickly. Now, the second one we didn't convert, so it does the natural recording way, and we get exactly the same result that we got before. Now, the important thing about this is that in AJAX pages, the contents of the DOM, as you probably realize, change dynamically with time. And so when we make a synchronization step like the one we did, and when we make that synchronization in the script, we have to make sure that we wait until the DOM is settled down. Otherwise, you're going to inevitably type ahead. So we've got a second example here, which is I wanted to illustrate this structural stuff. structural programming with this larger example which tests the Google Web Toolkit. This is quite a long example, and so I'm just going to run it. It has right at the beginning a sync on text, and all the way down it has a variety of very complicated Ajax type operations, and I think that people who are using the GWT, the Google Web Toolkit, will appreciate this. There we are, rich text, and eValid is doing something that most people probably have not seen automated before. So we're going in and manipulating focus and what's in focus and out of focus, dropping input areas, dropping information. What is eValid into? You see where eValid dropped that in, and then here in the text area there is the phrase that eValid dropped in. All right, and we modify the data, and we got a successful recording. And this is an illustration, by the way, where we do a negative validation. We match string and match not string, all right, to confirm that the operation is successful. Okay, so there's the GWT example. So this is an example we constructed using all of our technology of recording and then hand modification. And I'll come back to how that hand modification is done later on when I get the screen back. This is using Windows Live, SkyDrive, which is the Windows, Microsoft's latest software as a service offering, where they're using PowerPoint. They're putting PowerPoint, Word, and Excel up as a JavaScript implementation that's done in Ajax mode. And I just hope do we have a problem yet? Nope, there we go. So we just wait for this thing to come through. The response time on this website, by the way, does vary, and our synchronizations do overcome all of those problems. We're going to delete the cache again right there just to be sure. By the way, eValid has complete control of the cache and cookies, and that's important because you want, in many cases, to not be distracted by what's showing up in the cache. As you see, there are a lot of presentations there because we've been running this for some time. But we're now going to go in and do a submit click into this after having synchronized on text, and then we sync on text the word loading, and then we sync not on the text loading. So we make sure loading appears and make sure it disappears. And now we're going to go in and do the find and drop the word hello world and do another index find sequence. That's quite a long one. So we're doing testing, test, hello, dropped into the text area on this Ajax application, and then we wait for a response. Again, we're killing off the cache to make sure we're operating entirely from the Ajax application. At this point then, now there was a lot of adaptive playback that applied in that case, so we do get a yellow screen.